Hello, nice to meet you. Didn't you also sometimes think that wearing just a welding helmet with integrated fume extraction is enough to protect a welder against the fumes? Yeah, maybe a good thought, but only if you don't think twice. If you really think about the situation in an industrial surrounding, in most cases the welder is not on his own in this surrounding, in a fabrication hall or in a workshop. Yeah, you have people doing other works there, they don't wear a welding helmet. So these would be exposed by the welding fume. So you need a different concept. And if you think about it, of course you should choose a systematic approach. And most of the authorities that are relevant for health and safety at the workplace, they have these concepts. And the concept used here in welding is called the STOP principle. S for substitution, T for technology, O for organization, and P for personal protection. So let's go through, and then we see how the work order for these measures then is. Substitution first. Substitution is not only just replacing welding by adhesive bonding or something like that. It's also substitution with processes that have a lower welding fume emission. So for example, you could use pulsed welding instead of DC welding. Or you could use different shielding gases. One example where there are some investigations is if you add CO2 to the shielding gas, if it's feasible from the quality and process parameters, you can also reduce the welding fume emissions. And that helps to protect the welder. So that's the first instant. And the second is the technological measures. And here, the first recommendation of the authorities always is extraction at source. Extraction where the welding fume is generated. That means using a torch with integrated fume extraction. This has the best effect. If by some reasons you cannot use that, you can also use extraction hood or other extraction devices where you try to capture the welding fume. So this is a second, and then the third, the O for organizational measures. This is not really a good measure because this means you would give the welder tasks that are not welding tasks. That means preparation of the workpiece or handling of the workpiece after the welding. But a welder is a highly qualified and skilled worker. Why should you do this tasks which require only a lower qualification? It's not economic. So that's not the method of choice. And finally, we have the P for personal protection. And here we can come back to our initial example. Using a welding helmet with integrated fume extraction, yes, it helps. It helps only the welder, but it doesn't help the complete situation. So it's only the least thing that you would do. You would always first do all these other measures. Yeah, so I would be happy to answer more questions. Let's talk again.